Today's film, which I will be breaking down in this video, is called The Fabelmans. It is the movie based on the life of Steven Spielberg. And in this breakdown, of course, there will be some spoilers. So without further ado, let's get into the film. The film follows the life of the main character. His name is Sammy, whom, if you're unaware, it's actually pretty much the life of Steven Spielberg. And we see young Sammy from a very young age, with his parents taking him to the movie theater. And I don't remember the name of the movie that they saw, but I think it's on Circuses and Barnum. Oh well, I got to do more research. But anyways, so they take him to watch this movie, and he's watching it. It appears to be his first time in a movie theater, and there's this one scene. It's a train crash, and you see things flying, people getting injured. You see the zoo animals, the circus animals, flipping off the train, and as a young child, you see Sammy just amazed. And even when he goes home, that impression stays in his mind, and he starts rewatching what he saw in the movie theater over and over and over. And it leads him to, talking to his parents, and he gets a toy train and he gets a camera. So you know what he does? Since he's been rewatching this so many times in his head, that one scene, he decides to just do it himself and to watch it over and over again. And he does different scenarios, different setups, and he's just a little boy, but already you can see he has this strong passion for this new hobby that he's found. And his mom is very encouraging, his father not so much. And that happens to so many of us in our real life, where we have a hobby, we have something we want to do, but maybe not both of our parents are 100% behind us. So the mother of Sammy helps him to get this film that he's captured developed, and he goes in his room and he's watching it like on a small projector or something. But there's one very powerful moment from the beginning of the film, and that's when he gets it developed, and he excuses himself from the dinner table and he goes to his room, and like I said, he starts watching this on a small projector. But there's a powerful moment where, instead of projecting the images on the wall, he projects the images on his hand. And so on his hand, he can see, and you can see as the audience, you can see him watching the film at his very fingertips. So I want to stop right there because there's so much more in this film, and I think that it is a great way to have knowledge on understanding a bit more about filmmaking. So if you don't want to go to school or watch a YouTube video, this is a movie which will give you an understanding on how Steven Spielberg got into the life of filmmaking, and how he had to do so many experiments, and he had to just throw himself out there, put himself out there, risk failures, and he had so many failures. And I wanted to stop for a moment because now we've looked at the childhood of young Sammy, how he starts getting into film. As the movie progresses, you'll see him experimenting on different techniques and really taking risks and being bold and failing and trying again. But now let's go to another scene. And this is the point where he's at a new school in a new state, and he's all alone. He doesn't have any friends. He's an outsider, and he's getting picked on. There are bullies who are making his life a living hell. But he sees that there is a project going on where students, if they wish, can make their own films. And so young Sammy, now being a teenager and wanting to perhaps make a change, makes the decision to go ahead and make a film for this school. So he goes and follows other students at their getaway on the beach, and he starts filming everything. But now he starts to put the film together. And as he stops to think and to see how he's going to put this movie together, I look back in the beginning of the film when he's watching on that little projector the film that he made on his hand. And that's how filmmaking is supposed to be. That's how directing is supposed to be. That's how being a writer is supposed to be. This is your world. You direct the characters, you give them emotion, you put life into it. But here you have this young filmmaker, Steven Spielberg, or Sammy, and he has the chance. He can make this movie, this short film, he can make his bullies look like complete idiots, look like complete slime, and he does kind of make one of the bullies look like a complete loser. But the other bully, he kind of makes him look like a god. He makes him look just super cool. And so that's the power of filmmaking, is that you own the narrative. You own the way that the story is going to go. So he stops, he thinks, how am I going to make this film? And he makes it, and he shows it to the students, and all of the students are just so amazed that this guy whom they were bullying for so long and they were making his life a living hell, how he was able to make something so powerful, so influential. And you see all the students, they're just sitting there just watching it, and just you see that they're brought into another world, the world of Sammy, the world of Steven Spielberg, the world that they've created for you, the world that the director, the author has created for the audience. And it isn't necessarily how Sammy feels. And even after he shows the film, one of the bullies confronts him and is like, well, why the hell did you do that? You didn't have to do that. He's like, I've been treating you terribly, and then you go on and paint me in a very positive way. So after watching this film, I started thinking about how many different filmmakers, directors, they can make a story however way they want. And it's if you give the same story to different directors, of course, there's going to be so many different angles that they can take it emotionally, mentally, psychologically. But then I think about the real world. Now let's look at bad people just for a moment, because since my story was living in a religious cult, these cult leaders, or even sometimes domestic abusers, they're like directors, they're like filmmakers, where they want you to see their narrative. And even though you know that the story isn't like that, kind of like in the movie where the bully's like, hey, why are you painting me in a good light? That's not the true me. That's not how I really am. So in real life, sometimes these abusers, cult leaders, whatever, these people sometimes are brilliant. They're very sharp, very quick in their thinking. And sadly, they use their power, their knowledge to manipulate, to abuse people, and to do terrible things. But the shitty thing is that they control the narrative. And so that was just how I take the film. It's a great film, but putting that thought of the power of the filmmaker, the power of the director, how they have this power to influence. They have the power to either bring color to a subject or to make something look dark and creepy. And what cult abusers do, especially in the one that I was in. What he did was make himself look like the center of power, look like he was so special, and everyone around him is a terrible person. And then so many people fall into this trap. They get, as you might have heard the term, brainwashed. And that's what happens in movies. Sometimes you get programmed, you're watching it, and then you forget to have your own thinking cap on. But watching this film made me, really look deeper into what are the thoughts of the filmmaker, of the director, and what is the truth. So that's it for today. I really recommend this movie. It was a great movie, but just had to share how cults and these cult leaders are very much like filmmakers, very much like directors, where they want to control the world, they want to control the show and all the elements. And it's just so amazing how it's so easy to go so abusive, so negatively, and to bring propaganda, or you can bring it into another light and bring inspiration, bring hope, and not have to be like an abusive leader, cult leader. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy my video. I have more stuff coming soon, and I hope to see you again. So feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Have a good day.